Today we uncover the shocking truth about UK breakfast cereals. In 2016, a major cereal brand had its advertisement banned in the UK for making false health claims. The Advertising Standards Authority ruled the ad was misleading British consumers about what they were actually putting in their bowls each morning. That same year, research from Action on Sugar found that 8 out of 13 popular children's cereals contained more than half a child's maximum daily sugar intake in just one serving, one bowl, half their sugar for the entire day. And here's what makes this even worse. These aren't the obvious chocolate-covered sugar bombs you'd expect. These are the cereals marketed with words like wholesome, natural, high in fibre, and heart-healthy plastered across the box. The ones parents trust. The ones people buy thinking they're making the responsible choice. Cereals positioned in the health food section of the supermarket aisle, sitting right next to the protein bars and organic snacks, borrowing credibility they haven't earned. The breakfast cereal industry in the UK is worth over £1.6 billion. These companies spend millions on advertising, packaging psychology, and product placement. They know breakfast carries emotional weight. It's the caring parent meal, the responsible start to the day, and they've built entire brand identities around that emotion while quietly loading their products with refined sugar and stripped grains. According to NHS guidelines, anything over 22.5 grams of sugar per 100 is classified as high sugar, a red traffic light on the label. Yet some of the cereals marketed as healthy breakfast options contain 25, 30, even 35 grams of sugar per 100 grams. That's more sugar by weight than some chocolate biscuits. And the portion sizes listed on the box, 30 grams. That's barely a handful. Most people pour 50 to 70 grams into their bowl without thinking twice, which means they're consuming double or triple the sugar listed on the label before they've even added milk. So we've gone through the major brands currently sold in UK supermarkets, and we'll expose the 8 cereal products you need to avoid at all costs. Then I'll tell you the 5 which are actually still worth buying. But before we get into it, if this kind of investigation matters to you, click the hype button right now. Not just the like button, the hype button. Here's why that matters. When you hype this video, YouTube's algorithm pushes it to more people. More people see what these companies are doing. More people start reading labels. More people stop buying these products. And when enough people stop buying, these companies have 2 choices. They either reformulate and reduce the sugar, or they watch their sales decline. The only language corporations understand is profit. Your hype on this video is how we push back. It's how we force them to do better. It's how we protect the next generation from being hooked on sugar before they're old enough to read the nutrition label themselves. So, if you want to see real change, hype this video. Make it impossible for them to ignore. And let's get into it. Number 8. Special K Red Berries. For decades, Special K built an entire brand identity around weight management. Red bikinis, pinched waistbands, the Special K challenge encouraging people to replace meals with cereal to lose weight. The message was clear: eat this and stay slim. Millions of British women, many concerned about weight, trusted Special K as a sensible breakfast choice. They saw the sleek red packaging, the calorie counts displayed prominently on the front, and believed they were making a responsible decision. The reality is far less flattering. Special K Red Berries contains 17 grams of sugar per 100 grams. Now that sounds moderate until you understand the serving size Kellogg's uses. Just 30 grams. That's barely a handful. Pour a normal bowl and you're easily doubling or tripling that sugar intake. What looks like dietary restraint becomes excess consumption hidden by unrealistic portions. And here's the real problem. Special K Red Berries is deliberately low in fat and low in protein. That combination means it digests rapidly, spikes blood sugar, and leaves you hungry within hours. The fibre content? Minimal. Barely 1 gram per serving. There's nothing to slow digestion, nothing to provide sustained fullness. So what happens? You eat Special K for breakfast, expecting sustained energy, and by mid-morning you're reaching for snacks. The calorie reduction at breakfast gets cancelled out and often exceeded by increased eating later in the day. The product marketed as helping you control your weight actually sets you up to eat more. Registered nutritionists dismantled the Special K challenge systematically years ago. Caloric restriction produced the weight loss results, not the cereal itself. Special K just took the credit. The person following it paid the price in reduced protein, depleted healthy fats, and the metabolic rebound that no advert ever mentioned. And those berries on the front of the box, they make up only 4.5% of the product, 4.5%. The rest is refined rice and wheat with added sugar. In 2016, the Advertising Standards Authority banned a Special K advertisement in the UK for claiming the cereal was full of goodness. The ASA ruled the claim was misleading because Special K is primarily made from refined grains with minimal nutritional value. The company was told to remove the ad and not make similar claims again. A 750-gram box lists at around £4.20 at Tesco. That price represents 3 decades of aspirational advertising wrapped around a product that doesn't deliver what it promises. The diet promise was built on manufactured trust, and the ban proved it. Number 7. Nestle multigrain Cheerios. Those little oat rings. The heart symbol on the box, Nestle positions Cheerios as a heart-healthy choice using imagery of active families and claims about whole grains. In the United States, Cheerios famously carries FDA-approved heart health messaging. In the UK, the marketing follows a similar playbook, suggesting cardiovascular benefits without making explicit claims that regulators might challenge. But here's what they don't tell you. Multigrain sounds healthy. It sounds like you're getting multiple types of wholesome grains working together for your nutrition. But multigrain isn't the same as whole grain. Multigrain just means more than one type of grain was used. It doesn't mean those grains are whole. It doesn't mean they haven't been stripped and refined. It's a marketing term designed to sound nutritious without actually promising anything. The processing required to create those perfect little rings strips away much of the fiber benefit. The grains are refined, shaped, baked, and processed until what remains is a product that behaves more like simple carbohydrate than whole grain. Once it hits your digestive system, your body processes them rapidly, spiking blood sugar rather than providing sustained energy. And the sugar content, it's not catastrophic in the original variety, but the multigrain version people buy thinking it's even healthier contains more sugar than they realize. Add milk, which contains its own natural sugars, and the supposedly sensible bowl becomes decidedly less sensible. The base Cheerios product establishes trust with parents. The variants exploit that trust. Chocolate Cheerios and Honey Cheerios push sugar levels even higher, but they sit on the shelf right next to the original, borrowing the heart-healthy imagery without earning it. The portion size deception runs deep with Cheerios. Those little rings look harmless, even childlike, but their small size encourages overpouring. You fill the bowl, add milk, and consume far more than any serving suggestion. The company knows this. The serving sizes exist for nutritional labeling, not realistic guidance. The heart on the box suggests protection. The ingredient list reveals something else entirely. Cheerios markets itself to health-conscious parents who want to do right by their families, and it uses that trust to sell a product that doesn't deliver what the packaging implies. Number 6. Kellogg's Fruit and Fibre. This one gets positioned as the sensible adult choice. Real fruit, high fibre, the kind of cereal a responsible person eats. The box features images of wholesome wheat and colourful fruit pieces. It sits in the healthier section of the cereal aisle, right next to the mueslis and granolas, borrowing credibility from its neighbours. But look at the nutrition label. 24 grams of sugar per 100 grams. That's a red traffic light rating from Diabetes UK. High sugar, not moderate, not borderline. High for a cereal marketed with gut health and fibre messaging, that sugar content is inexcusable. And here's the twist. The real fruit they advertise, 26% of the product. That sounds reasonable until you read the ingredients list more carefully. Those banana chips, they contain added sugar. They took fruit, dried it, then added more sugar on top. So you're getting sugar from the dried fruit naturally, plus added sugar in the fruit itself, plus a separate added sugar ingredient in the base cereal. It's a triple-layer sugar system disguised as a wholesome breakfast. The fiber content is decent, around 9 grams per 100 grams. But fiber doesn't cancel out sugar. Your body still has to process that sugar load. Your pancreas still floods your system with insulin to manage the glucose spike, and for people managing blood sugar issues, that morning spike can destabilize their levels for the entire day. The gut health messaging is particularly cynical. Yes, fiber supports digestive health, but sugar promotes inflammation, disrupts gut bacteria balance, and works against the very benefits the fiber is supposed to provide. It's like taking one step forward and two steps back, then marketing the single forward step as progress. According to the British Dental Journal, tooth decay remains the leading cause of hospital admissions for children aged 5 to 9 in England, with over 26,000 hospitalized every year for preventable decay. High-sugar breakfast cereals contribute directly to that statistic. A bowl of fruit and fiber 5 mornings a week, year after year, is a documented contribution. The fruit imagery does a lot of work here. It makes the cereal feel natural, wholesome, like something from a farmer's market rather than an industrial production line. But natural doesn't mean low sugar, and wholesome doesn't mean healthy. Number 5. Nestle Frosted Shreddies. This is where it gets revealing. Original Shreddies contain 96.1% whole grain wheat. It's a fairly straightforward product. Wheat, shaped into squares, toasted, done. Not exciting, but honest. Then Nestle created Frosted Shreddies, same wholesome Shreddies branding, same family-friendly marketing, but look at what changed. The whole grain wheat content drops to 84.8%. They added a sugar coating, invert sugar syrup, molasses, 3 separate sweetening ingredients layered onto a product that didn't need them. The sugar content jumps significantly. And here's what makes this so calculated. They're using the trust people have in regular Shreddies to sell a completely different product. Parents who grew up eating Shreddies, who remember them as the sensible, boring cereal, see Frosted Shreddies and think it's just a slightly sweeter version of the same thing. It's not. It's a fundamentally different product that exploits the equity of the original. This is product corruption. Taking something with a reputation for simplicity and integrity, then loading it with sugar while keeping the branding identical. The packaging looks almost the same. The marketing feels the same. But what's inside the box has been transformed into something the original Shreddies never was. And the portion sizes create the same problem we've seen with other cereals. The serving size listed is modest. Nobody pours that little. A realistic bowl contains significantly more sugar than the label suggests. Add semi-skimmed milk, and the sugar intake climbs further. Then people often add fruit or honey on top, because Shreddies, even frosted ones, still taste fairly plain. What started as a sensible bowl becomes a sugar delivery system. Nestle knows exactly what they're doing. They've taken a trusted product and created a variant that undermines everything the original stood for, then marketed it to the same families who trusted the original. It's a betrayal dressed up as an option. Number 4. Kellogg's Crunchy Nut. This is the cereal that went to court to protect its sugar content. In April 2022, Kellogg's filed a High Court challenge against the UK government's HFSS regulations. Those are the rules that restrict how high-fat, sugar and salt products can be promoted and placed in stores. Kellogg's argued the sugar calculation was unfair because cereal is consumed with milk, and milk has nutritional value that should be counted. Justice Linden dismissed the case in July 2022. His ruling was unambiguous. Milk doesn't change the fact that the cereal itself is high in sugar. The government confirmed that HFSS cereals contribute around 7% of children's daily free sugar intake. Kellogg's lost. The restrictions came into force. Pre-watershed advertising was restricted, in-store placement rules changed. But here's what didn't change. The formulation, Crunchy Nut, still contains 35 grams of sugar per 100 grams. That puts it nutritionally alongside confectionery, not a morning meal. Catherine Jenner, Director of Action on Sugar, stated publicly that Crunchy Nut delivers 2.5 teaspoons of sugar per serving before milk touches the bowl. Repeated daily, that sugar load quietly builds toward insulin resistance, the NHS-identified precursor to type 2 diabetes. Bowl by bowl, across years of breakfasts, nobody questions it because it's just cereal. And those honey-roasted peanuts they celebrate on the front of the box, the ones that justify the premium price tag, they make up 6% of the product. The honey itself, 1%. 1% actual honey in a cereal called Crunchy Nut, with honey-roasted peanuts prominently displayed on the packaging. The rest of that sweet taste comes from sugar, barley malt extract, and molasses, three separate sweetening ingredients doing the work that the tiny amount of real honey can't do. A 460-gram box sits at £3.50 at Tesco. That's expensive for cereal. You're paying a premium for a product that's over one-third sugar by weight. And when Kellogg's was faced with new regulations designed to protect children's health, they didn't reformulate to reduce the sugar. They hired lawyers and went to court. They fought the government to keep selling it exactly as it is. That tells you everything about their priorities. The case was dismissed, but the cereal remains unchanged. The judge ruled against them, but they're still selling the same product at the same price to the same families. Number 3. Jordan's Country Crisp Flame Raisins. This is the artisan scam. Jordan's positions itself as the premium cereal brand. The rustic packaging with hand-drawn illustrations, the countryside imagery, the focus on natural ingredients and traditional recipes. It feels like something from a farm shop, not a factory. The marketing implies craft, care, and quality that justifies the higher price. But look at the sugar content, 28.8 grams per 100 grams. That's officially classified as high sugar by NHS guidelines. Over the 22.5-gram threshold that triggers a red traffic light label, this premium artisan cereal, marketed with images of rolling hills and heritage grains, contains nearly 30% sugar by weight. A 450-gram box costs between £3 and £4, depending on where you shop. That's expensive cereal. And what are you paying for? You're paying for packaging that makes you feel good about your purchase. You're paying for branding that suggests wholesomeness and tradition. You're paying for the perception of quality, but the actual product inside the box is a sugar bomb dressed in a tweed jacket. The flame raisins sound natural and fruity. Raisins are healthy, right? Dried fruit. But raisins are already concentrated sugar because the drying process removes water and leaves the sugars behind. Then they're coated in more sugar and mixed into clusters held together with glucose syrup and vegetable oil. You're getting sugar from the raisins, sugar coating the raisins, and sugar binding the clusters together. It's the same triple-layer system we've seen before, just packaged to look artisanal. Jordan's is owned by Associated British Foods, a massive conglomerate that also owns Primark, British Sugar, and dozens of other brands. This isn't a small family farm making granola in a barn. It's industrial food production with heritage marketing. The countryside imagery is a story they're selling you, not a reflection of how the product is made. And it works. People pay the premium price because they believe they're buying something better, something more authentic. But authentic doesn't mean healthy, and premium doesn't mean low sugar. Jordan's has successfully convinced consumers that expensive cereal in pretty packaging must be good for them. The nutrition label tells a different story. Number 2. Alpen Original Muesli. Muesli feels healthy, it looks healthy. Whole grains, dried fruit, nuts. The kind of breakfast a sensible adult eats. Alpen leans heavily into this perception. The packaging features mountain imagery and Swiss-inspired branding. It positions itself as a wholesome European breakfast tradition brought to the UK. But here's what they don't advertise prominently. Alpen Original contains 21 to 22 grams of sugar per 100 grams. Nearly a quarter of the product is sugar. Some of that comes from the dried fruit, which naturally concentrates sugars during the drying process. But look at the ingredients list. There's added sugar listed separately. They took fruit that already contains concentrated natural sugars, then added more sugar on top. Why? Because muesli without added sugar doesn't taste as appealing, and taste drives sales. The portion size listed on the box is 45 grams. That's the amount they use to calculate the nutrition information. But nobody eats 45 grams of muesli. It looks like barely anything in the bowl. Most people pour significantly more, often doubling it to 90 or 100 grams. At that realistic portion size, you're looking at over 20 grams of sugar before you've added milk or topped it with fresh fruit, both of which people commonly do. Double the portion, add milk, add a banana or some berries, and you've consumed a massive sugar load before 9 in the morning. And here's the real deception. A version of Alpen exists, called Alpen No Added Sugar. It contains 16 grams of sugar per 100 grams, coming solely from the dried fruit with no additional sugar mixed in. That product exists right now, on the same supermarket shelves. Alpen knows how to make muesli without adding sugar. They choose not to with the original version because the added sugar makes it taste better, and better taste means more sales. So they push the sugary original version with prominent placement and marketing, while the no added sugar version sits quietly to the side with less shelf space and almost no advertising. The Swiss branding is pure marketing invention. This is a British product made by the Weetabix food company. It has nothing to do with Switzerland beyond borrowing the imagery of alpine health and purity. Real Swiss people don't eat Alpen Original. It was created for the UK market using Swiss aesthetic as a selling point. The wholesome packaging is working very hard here. It's doing the heavy lifting to convince you that what you're eating is nutritious when the sugar content says otherwise. Muesli isn't automatically healthy just because it contains oats and dried fruit. Alpen Original proves that. Number 1. FUE L10K Protein Granola. This is protein washing at its finest. The entire fitness and gym culture has been targeted by food companies who realized they could slap the word protein on anything and sell it at a premium to people trying to build muscle or lose weight. FUE L10K positions itself specifically for this market. The branding screams performance. The packaging features bold, athletic imagery. The name itself suggests fuel for workouts, energy for training, nutrition for athletes. And right there on the front, protein-boosted granola. But flip the box over and read the ingredients list. Sugar, glucose syrup, sunflower oil, chocolate, dextrose, the first 5 ingredients of various forms of sugar and oil. This is candy clusters with protein powder added. They took a fundamentally unhealthy base product, mixed in some protein isolate, and marketed it to gym goers as fitness fuel. The protein content is higher than regular granola. Yes, they achieved that by literally adding protein powder to sugar clusters. But protein doesn't cancel out sugar. Your body doesn't process them as a trade-off where one negates the other. You're getting both. The sugar still spikes your blood glucose, the oil still adds empty calories, the protein just sits on top of a nutritionally poor foundation. And here's what makes this particularly cynical. People buying this product are actively trying to improve their health. They're going to the gym. They're reading labels, they're looking for higher protein options to support their fitness goals. And FUE L10K exploits that effort by creating a product that looks like it aligns with those goals while fundamentally undermining them. A high sugar breakfast before a workout means you'll get an energy spike followed by a crash. Your blood sugar will drop mid-session. You'll feel sluggish, weak, less capable of pushing through the workout you woke up early to do. The very people this product claims to support are being set up to fail by the product itself. The price point reinforces the scam. FUE L10K costs more than regular granola because it's marketed as a specialist fitness product. You're paying extra for the protein-boosted claim, but you could buy plain oats, add a scoop of protein powder yourself, and create a genuinely high-protein, low-sugar breakfast for less money. The convenience of the pre-made product is what you're really paying for, and that convenience comes with a sugar load that works against everything you're trying to achieve at the gym. This is the number 1 worst offender because it targets people who are actively trying to do better, people who care about what they eat, and sells them a lie wrapped in performance marketing. It's exploitation of good intentions. So how do you find the actually good cereals? Here's what to look for. First, check the sugar content per 100 grams. Anything under 5 grams is low sugar, 5 to 22.5 is medium. Over 22.5 is high, aim for the low category. Second, read the ingredients list. If sugar appears in the first 3 ingredients, put it back. If you see multiple types of sweeteners like glucose syrup, dextrose, molasses, and honey, all in the same product, that's a red flag. They're using several different sweeteners to avoid having sugar as the first ingredient. Third, ignore the portion size on the label and calculate what you actually eat. Multiply the sugar per serving by 2 or 3 to get a realistic number for how much you're consuming. Fourth, look for whole grains listed as the primary ingredient, not multigrain, whole grain, and ideally just 1 or 2 ingredients total. The simpler the better. First, Nestle Shredded Wheat Original. 1 ingredient, whole grain wheat. That's it. No added sugar, no added salt, no emulsifiers, No stabilizers, no synthetic vitamins sprinkled on top to compensate for industrial processing. Just wheat, pressed, shredded, and baked into those distinctive pillow shapes that have existed since 1893. The sugar content is 0.7 grams per 100 grams. That tiny amount comes naturally from the wheat itself, not from anything added. Compare that to the 35 grams in Crunchy Nut or 28 in Jordan's Country Crisp. The difference is staggering. Shredded wheat proves that breakfast cereal doesn't require sugar to exist. It's been on British shelves for over a century, doing exactly what it does now. No rebranding, no reformulations, no government challenges or banned advertisements. Just wheat. The fibre content sits around 5 grams per serving, coming from the natural wheat structure rather than processed bran additives. This fibre includes both soluble and insoluble types in natural proportion, providing genuine digestive benefit without the irritation that concentrated bran can cause. Blood sugar rises gradually after eating shredded wheat and stays stable for hours. No spikes, no crashes, no insulin surges. Your body digests it the way it's meant to digest whole grain. The simplicity is almost extinct in the cereal aisle now. Most boxes contain 10 to 25 ingredients. Shredded wheat still contains one. A 24 biscuit pack retails at around £3.25 at Tesco. It's not the cheapest cereal on the shelf, but it's honest. What you see on the label is what you get in the bowl. Second, Weetabix Original. 95% whole grain wheat, malted barley extract, sugar, salt, and added vitamins. The sugar content is 4.2 grams per 100 grams. Low, well under the 5-gram threshold. The fiber content is 11 grams per 100 grams, genuinely high. This is real fiber from whole grain, not added bran powder. 2 Weetabix biscuits with semi-skimmed milk make a filling breakfast that keeps you satisfied until lunch. No mid-morning energy crash, no cravings an hour later, just sustained energy from grain that hasn't been stripped and refined. Weetabix has been part of British breakfast tables since 1932. The formulation hasn't changed in nearly a century. In a category defined by quiet reformulations and regulatory battles, a product unchanged for almost 100 years has nothing to hide. The wheat is grown within 50 miles of the Weetabix mills in Kettering. This isn't imported grain shipped across oceans, it's British wheat, processed in Britain, sold in British supermarkets. A 24-pack costs around £3.50 at Tesco. It's accessible, available everywhere, and affordable. Weetabix doesn't taste like a reward. It tastes like something your body can genuinely use. That distinction is the entire point. Third, plain porridge oats. Just oats, no flavouring, no added sugar, no sachets with golden syrup or maple pecan. Plain rolled oats or steel-cut oats that you cook yourself with water or milk. The British Heart Foundation ranks porridge as the #1 breakfast for heart health. Oats contain beta-glucan, a type of soluble fiber that actively lowers cholesterol. This isn't a marketing claim, it's a verified benefit supported by decades of cardiovascular research. A bowl of plain porridge releases energy slowly throughout the morning, blood sugar rises gradually and stays stable. You stay full for hours because the fiber slows digestion and the complex carbohydrates take time to break down. And here's the best part, you control what goes into it. Add a drizzle of honey if you want sweetness. Add fresh berries for flavor and vitamins. Add a spoonful of peanut butter for protein. You decide. You're not eating what a food company decided tastes good enough to maximize sales. You're building a breakfast that serves your actual nutritional needs. Plain oats cost around £1.50 for a kilogram at most supermarkets. That's cheaper than any branded cereal. It's the most affordable, genuinely healthy breakfast option available. No premium pricing for premium branding. No paying extra for marketing that lies to you. Just oats. Fourth, Lizzie's low-sugar granola. This proves granola can be made without drowning it in syrup. Most supermarket granolas contain 25 to 35 grams of sugar per 100 grams. Lizzie's low-sugar range sits under 5%. Under 5%. They've shown it's possible to create crunchy, flavorful granola clusters without the sugar overload. The ingredients include oats, seeds, nuts, and a small amount of natural sweetener. You can taste the actual ingredients rather than just tasting sugar. It costs more than plain oats, around £4 for a 400-gram bag. It's a premium product. But unlike Jordan's Country Crisp, which charges premium prices for high sugar, dressed in artisan packaging, Lizzie's charges premium prices for a product that actually delivers on the healthy claim. If you want granola and you're willing to pay for it, this is what real low-sugar granola looks like. It exists. It's available in most major supermarkets. You don't have to accept the sugar bomb versions just because they dominate the shelf space. Fifth, Kellogg's All-Bran Original. Now, All-Bran sits in a different category. The fiber content is genuinely high, 27 grams per 100 grams. That part is real. If you're someone who genuinely needs serious fiber for digestive regularity, this delivers. But the sugar content is 18 grams per 100 grams. That's not ideal. It's not low. It's borderline medium to high, depending on how strict your definition is. So here's the balanced take. All-Bran is marketed as high fiber, and it actually is high fiber. Unlike the other products we've covered, it's not lying about what it is. The problem is you're getting that fiber alongside more sugar than you'd want in a supposedly healthy breakfast. If constipation is a genuine issue for you and you need that level of fiber, All-Bran might be worth the trade-off. Just know you're accepting some sugar along with it. It's not perfect, but at least it's honest about what it delivers. If you don't specifically need extreme fiber, the first 4 options are better choices. But if you do, this is one of the few products that actually does what it says on the box. The breakfast cereal aisle is where sugar got dressed up as health food. Companies spend decades building trust through advertising and branding, then use that trust to sell products that undermine the very health they claim to support. But you don't have to buy it. Read the labels, ignore the marketing, choose cereals that are honest about what they are. If this investigation opened your eyes to what's really in your cupboard, click the hype button one more time. Share this with someone who's still buying the cereals we've exposed. The more people who know, the harder it gets for these companies to keep selling lies, and drop a comment telling me which food or drink category I should investigate next. There's a lot more hiding on supermarket shelves that needs exposing. Until next time, read the labels, question the marketing, and protect your plate.